Hey everyone, Green Cricket here, and today I want to present to you the deck which I used to become Grandmaster last season. We'll look at the deck list and the card synergies within the deck, then we'll talk about the Mulligan, then about our game plan and the tricks we can use, followed by the matchup analysis, and last but not least, we'll look at some gameplay. Let's start. The core cards of the deck are Triss veterans, which strengthen all our Triss units in our deck, hand and board by 1. The more we play them, the stronger all our units will become, resulting in the strongest bronze non-engine units you can play in the current meta. The trick is to be able to play all of them, and to play them more than once. Since they're the strongest unit in the deck, Krach and Create and Alsa's Double Cross both will pull them from the deck. Through Sigdrifa, you're able to play them again, and decoy onto Sigdrifa or onto the veteran himself will give you an additional tick. Bearmasters and Hunters are in the deck for poor point value. After 5 veteran ticks, Bearmasters will be 17 point bronzes and Hunters are worth 16 points. Hunters can also be used to kill engines, but most of the time you will need 2 of them. Heime Spear Maiden enables us to pull more value out of the deck, and it gives us a great resort target for some round 3 tempo. Beware that Spear Maiden is not able to pull veterans since there are no soldiers. Through Freyas and Reconnaissance, we are not running out of units, and Reconnaissance also enables our Triss Telekinesis for a constant Freya drop in round 3. Vesemir Mentor, with the 2 alchemy cards Mandrake and Runestone, are able to deal with threats on the other side of the board, like Immoliths, Neckers, or out of the hand Hawker Smugglers. If you can play a bit lower tempo and you don't need to save Mandrake, you can also use it to strengthen a Bearmaster for even more power in round 3. Burn Up Ran is Turisach 2 and therefore scales together with the other units. Her Skelliger Storm Hazard is able to deal 4 damage per turn, so wait until an enemy has lined up his units and consider which round will be the longest, so she is the most effective. Coral is Denial and can mess with an opponent's strategy while being worth a lot of points most of the time. The latest addition to the deck is Triss Telekinesis, and I've added her thanks to tip from my team member Shinrimi in this new season. Triss lets you create a bronze special card from both players' starting deck, meaning that you always can choose to play Triss into Reconnaissance, into Freya, into Bearmaster for 24 points. Depending on the situation, you can also use a spell of your opponent, but most of the time your own Reconnaissance is the best choice. Let's look at the Mulligan. You always want to be able to play 3 veterans in your first round, so you need to have at least 1 and Alsa's Double Cross in your hand, because the last can be pulled with Krach. Freyas we want to have in round 3, so that's the first thing we are blacklisting, increasing the chance for veterans. Try to get at least 1 Bear and Hunter, so you can pull more with the Spear Maiden, but blacklist them early so your veteran draw chance is increased. Golds are always fine, and if you have Vesemir in your hand, then Mulligan away Mandrake and Runestone. Our game plan would look like this. In round 1, we drop as many veterans as possible, trying to set up the deck. Depending on the matchup, you will need to play differently, which we cover later in this guide, but the general idea is, on Blue Coin, you set everything up and then use Bears and Hunters to catch up and find a passing spot without going down 1 card. If the enemy plays into round 2 after, you should use Sigdrifa and Decoy to raise more veterans for more setup and tempo. If he dry passes round 2, you should wait with Sigdrifa and Decoy until later in round 3, because veterans don't buff units in the graveyard. On Red Coin, you want to stay ahead, but the veteran setup will slow you down a bit. Consider to use your gold cards or even use Decoy on Bearmaster, basically utilize everything you have to get that card advantage. The more cards you get out of your enemy in round 1 the better, because the shorter round 3 is, the better are your chances, because every unit of us is worth a lot and the opponents often need to get synergies down to generate points. When you play, keep an eye on the cards still left in your deck. The ideal game is one where you get 2 Hunters and Bearmasters out, enabling a restored Spear Maiden for big point drop in round 3, and if you play it like this, then it's pretty likely to draw Freyas in round 3, and Triss into Recon will get you a Freya as well. Also, don't play too short rounds. Always try to play long enough to populate your graveyard, because you don't want to end up with a dead Freya in round 3, especially when you play against decks which can steal units from your graveyard. Okay, let's look at the matchups in detail. Against Mulligan Elves. Depending on the color of your coin, you probably will go 1 or 2 cards down because you can't play around the Yavin Cleaver combo. But that's okay, because everything that counts is round 3, and that's where we have the ace in the hole. Whatever happens, try to get your 3 veterans out, establish Freya targets and win round 1 even 2 cards down. If you can also strengthen a Bearmaster with Mandrake, even better. Round 2 you need to push. Try to get 1, maybe 2 cards back, because in short rounds you will have the upper hand. Use Sigdrifa and Decoy for more veteran value and to generate even more tempo. If you manage to get a really short run free, you can also win one card down because they can't pick up steam. Your lose condition is a long run free where you haven't developed your veterans and your graveyard. The Nova Engine Elf list. They probably run the Cleaver combo as well, so our strategy is the same as playing against Mulligan Elves. Try to kill the engines with hunters. If you can kill the Farseer in 2 rounds, good. But most of the time it will already be ticking, so try to rob them at least of the guaranteed tick by killing their dragoons. They have a better finisher than Mulligan Elves, but again, you have a better short run tempo. Use that in round 2 to get cards back, because 1 card down against your Nova is dangerous. On equal cards, don't worry about Nova, your Triss will have more value. Aridin. Keep Vesemir and Mandrake, because your opponent might be playing Imalith Sabbath. Using Mandrake on Imalith denies his Mandrake and renew target, so don't be too greedy and use it too soon. Stack units in Frost and use Hunters to kill his riders before the ships appear on the board. Like with the Elves, try to split the rounds, because short rounds are not good for Aridin and Wild Hunt Hound plus Frost is a very low tempo play, so take advantage of that. Deathwish. Like with Aridin, you don't want to waste Mandrake and you should really consider your options before you use it, for example on an enemy Baba Gazi. He can play high tempo, but as soon as veterans are set up, every one of your Bearmaster can match his Griffin Blue Star combo. So don't be afraid to let the Baba Gazi live and lose 1 card up. Your consistent tempo in round 2 and round 3 is better than his. Alchemy. Try to stack into 2 rows to play around Dragon Dreams and Expired Ale, but after the initial setup phase, you will be able to out-tempo your enemy. Mandrake is Calvet, so you prevent a badass Kahir into a Mandrake Calvet, into a Scale and Wilgefortz, into whatever combo. Because this combo could cost you the game. Henselt. Buff up your Bearmasters before you play them, or his battering rams will make quick work of them. The less of your units die, the less power his Bloody Baron will have, enabling you to out-tempo him also 1 card down in a short round. Use Coral on his Rondvid as soon as possible to deny him value and a permanent crewman. Also assure that you play around the Icers, cavalry, which will jump out of his deck as soon as he is 20 points behind on his turn. He may pass on you if he is on blue coin, but don't make the mistake of dry passing round 2 afterwards, because you want to develop Graveyard and Vets. You can't play around the Icers in Spider's way, but just put tempo in the ground and force the short round free, because he just handed over the game's control to you. Make him pay for that. Armor. This is the same as with Mulligan or the Squirtle Nova Engine deck. The deck has ton of value in a long run, but luckily misses the Cleaver Yavin combo. Set up your vets, split the rounds and go for a short run free. Use your Hunters to hit his Redanian Knight Elect so they stop buffing up the other units. However, your opponent will run Thunderbolt Potion, so find a good spot to remove the armor, maybe even after he already played 1 or 2, so he can't recover the armor of the Redanian Knight Elect. Greatswords. Against Greatswords, you want to play the first round and then turn the tide with a good Coral and Mandrake target. Mandrake 1 big ship for value, Coral on an 18-point Greatsword to deny the res in round 3. This way, he will be only able to res 1 of his big Greatswords, but we don't care, because every Bearmaster of us will have similar points as well. Wait with Burner until he stacked up a row with 3 units consisting of a ship, Greatsword and any other unit. The Greatsword will reset all the time, but you still get the free value each turn because of the 2 other units. Okay, after the Fury, let me show you some gameplay footage from today's stream where you can see how I pilot the deck. Let's go. Ding. Okay, they gone. We blacklist those. So we have all 3 veterans. This Krach, Elsa's, Triss and like 1 on hand. We have a Spare Maiden for Restore. We could Mulligan Hunter. There we go. Now we have even Decoy and Sigdrifa, which gives us maybe 2 more veterans. And if we Mulligan this, we could get like another Spare Maiden. Or we could get Mandrake, Restore, Runestone. So that's okay for me as well. There we go. That was a good Mulligan. And we're on red coin. Okay, so he's playing Fiends. I guess I start with
You've got the heart.
this then, just for the tempo.
Marvels too one day.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I can do much about it. I just want to set up my stuff anyway, so let's pull it with Alsus.
Stars are all the trophies I need.
Yeah, we can't... Currently, we can't stay up here. But it's fine. We could play Burner into this, but then he probably just drops out, so... Let's wait one more card before we do anything...
And then some.
Which we later regret, maybe? Let's see. Oh, actually, like, look at this. Like, if he has Igni, you're dead. But, like, no one runs Igni currently, so... Ah! Ah! Does he go for Baba Gazi? Okay, here's a question. That's a good question, because if he runs Imolith, we want to keep the Mandrake. If he doesn't run Imolith, we would like to Baba Gazi this thing. We would like to Mandrake this thing. Or we just go out now, because if you go out now, he dry passes. Then this one is not a problem. We have this for Imolith. But then we didn't populate our grave yet, but we can still play Bearmaster. So, let's pull out here. And let's see. Let's see who wants to push run 2 or not. Because that could happen as well. That's good. Well, that's also not bad. I actually think I'm taking this. Don't want to draw into Freya. So let's see. Okay, that's actually pretty decent because now we can get our Bearmaster out. Gives us a Freya target. And let's see. This can maybe give us better clear. Maybe. If he plays... I don't know. Let's see. Do we want to keep her on hand though? Or do we want to get something else? Restore. Do we have restore? No. We could restore the Bearmaster. Let's see. I mean, the first thing we do is probably get the veteran. If you restore this, then it doesn't matter too much. So there we go.
What do you need?
11-point veteran.
Stars are all the trophies I need.
Let's see. Dobry Prish. Or Pis. Psi. Dobrish. I can't pronounce it. I should learn Polish at some point. Polish or Czech. Maybe Czech even, because if I get, like, if I learn Czech, then I can also, like, learn Slovak easily, because it's the same language. So... And I heard that the Balkan languages are, like, not similar, but, like, since they have the same, you know, tree, language tree. Well, that's good. That's our decoy target. We'll just let it tick down and then we decoy it somewhere else. Question is, should we play into Fog? I don't want to play into Fog. Does he run... Do we think he plays Dranas? I don't think so. Do we use Caliga Storm into this? Too early, I guess. So, what do we do? Do we play Runestone? What do we get? Okay, let's see. 1 damage. I guess we go for Warrior.
We'll greet him with fire and iron.
This was not bad value. Okay, please play something in here. We could play... well, I don't know. We could... I need one more round until I play Burner. This is also Mandrake. This could be a Mandrake target, which would be fine. So we just play Beastmaster now.
He don't like you.
So the good thing is we have a Mandrake target. We have a decoy target. Oh, this is getting out of hand. Yeah, that's not good. But the thing is, we could actually play Spare Maiden into here, then we have a restore target as well. So that's not a bad idea, I guess.
The time for blathering is
Let's do this. Because we decoy the veteran, pull it onto another lane, and then Spear Maiden will die. Just hope he doesn't run drown us. Yeah, you're... That's not nice. I don't care too much. Let's take this one. Yeah, let's put it here.
Mayhap you'll gawk at Telekinesis, Marvel.
So we have a lot of, like, veteran ticks now, which is... Oh, I actually should have played Burner now. Shit. I need to play Burner now.
now. How
Oh, it's good that we played Burner now because no, we can't clear it. We just can't clear anyway, right? So
You stand before the Queen of Skellige.
he has 2 weathers on the board. I have only 1 weather on the board, but we can now restore into the Battle Maiden for another hunter, and we still have Mandrake, so that's fine. This will be a bit problematic because we don't have anything to rest right now. Yeah, we don't have anything to rest, which is a shame. Well, let's see.
More hog devour ye!
What do we hit here? This one, I guess. So we need to... Well, maybe this gives us a Spare Maiden or Hunter, so we could be fine. We'll see. Probably still have something to consume the... Does he have another Fiend? No. Okay. So there we go. You can actually just play the fog. It
The
doesn't
mother
matter too much.
goddess, she giveth and taketh away.
More hog devour ye!
There you go. I mean, just like the points are pretty solid actually. So even with 2 like wet on it, again, like this helps a lot. Well, I kept him to run 3. That's actually pretty cool.
Just great.
Let's hope for. Well, again, Freya's dead.
We serve her who is
Yay.
earned in mother and crone.
At least we get a decent Mandrake, so we can still win this, I guess.
I sense your pain. I see your fear.
Maybe. Let's see.
Tomfoolery! Enough!
Well, it's not a lot actually. Let's see what his last card is. All depends on this one. And it is a Ghoul. Oh shit. Well, he doesn't have a Fiend in the graveyard. Nice. Coolio. So what do you think about this new version of Greatswords? Let me know down in the comments below. And if this is your first time on the channel, I'd love you to subscribe and join our little cricket community. See ya in game.